We're back for season 2.
Yes, it's bigger. It's badder. It's
Oh, just get on with it.
bad scripts.
Hello and welcome back to Bad Scripts Presents The Last Resort. Now we are deep into season 2. We're deep into season 2, chapter 2. And things are really starting to hot up. So please welcome the man that needs no introduction now, but I'm going to give him one anyway. It's the stupendous Mr. Mike Garlier. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Steve. Lovely to hear your voice, see your face, and get into another episode of our rather epic story. How are you?
I'm very well, my friend, very well. I'm assuming you've had a good week. You sound quite chipper. Have you done anything exciting this week that has lifted your spirits?
Have I done anything exciting this week? Well, interestingly, I vowed off alcohol after over-consuming over the weekend. I don't know if you've ever, we know you've done that, but I think I've reached that tipping point now where, when I wake up in a bedroom, not sure where I'm at, and then realize it's my own bedroom, but I'm just in a different direction, I think I've gone too far.
So were you sort of the head at the tail end of the bed, or were you sideways? Were you on the floor? How did that
I was
pan out?
in a different room altogether, to be perfectly honest with you, and I
Or
then
was
couldn't
it-
figure out how I got there.
So it was like a spare room job. You're not coming in this room until you're sober.
It's the room that no one ever really goes into. There is a bed in there, but it's just that room that's not used very often.
Were you chained the people up? Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I genuinely woke up in there and then sat in my car for a little while. That sounds really weird. And sat there for a little while, questioning my life choices. But it was worth it. And I spent some time with other people that I know, and we had a bit of a social. Put it that way.
Good. That's good. It's always good to socialise and see other people. So no, I'm not jealous. I'm not hurt that you spent time with other friends. I will get over it eventually.
They meant nothing, Steve. They meant nothing to me.
You can say that with empty words.
It was the act and not the feelings taken over there. So
you were thinking about me the whole time. I know.
I wasn't quite thinking of you the whole time. I think you creeped into my head a few times where I kind of looked in the mirror and said, "What are you doing?" But when you're too invested, you just can't stop.
I know when you're too invested in you can't stop. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, how about you? Anything exciting happened to you this week?
Well, yeah, I don't drink, so I'm kind of sober boy. But my wife went to a cider and gin festival on Saturday, so she consumed copious amounts of alcohol with her friends, and then summoned me to collect her. And then, and I don't know if you've done this, Mike, but when you're the sober one and everybody's been drinking all day, it's a weird dynamic because everybody's in this kind of heightened sense of woo, and you're like, yeah, hello.
Do you become grumpy man? Do you become the grumpy driver, and then get annoyed because people don't realize how drunk they are, and they go, "We're going to drop these 15,000 people at home." You don't mind, do you?
No, there was only one person I dropped at home, other than the wife, and that was already prearranged. But no, I don't know what it is, but every time a drunk person gets in my car, they break my cup holder. Twice in a row that's happened, and it's kind of become my little bugbear. Stop touching the cup holder and breaking it, and I have to fix it again. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the consumption of alcohol does to make it happen.
How big is the cup holder?
Well, it's a duplicator because without going into too much detail and boring everybody's pants off, the rear cup holder in my car, because it's my second car, my little runaround, it's got a single cup holder in the back, but I have 2 children. And that's not going to fly. So this is like an insert that turns one cup holder into 2. And so it sticks out a little bit more. So, yeah, as soon as a drunk person gets in the car, they kick it and then the bits come apart and have to sort of put it all back together with clips and things. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But, hey, if you're still listening, we apologise.
I'm just imagining drunk people getting you. Can we just clarify? You are not a taxi or Uber driver, are you?
No, I are definitely not. But only for the wife and her
only
friends.
for the wife. But people keep breaking your accessories whilst in the back of your car drunk.
Yeah, that's what happens.
The original question was, have you done anything exciting? And what you described was your wife doing something exciting and you picking up drunk people.
Well, picking up the drunk people was quite exciting. One of her friends was sat in a bar stool, half passed out, trying to eat pizza. One of the funniest things I've ever seen, and then kept dropping half the pizza on the floor and then couldn't find it and getting a new piece. And so he was sat there with about 5 crusts of pizza around him, balanced precariously on the stool, not holding on. It was hilarious. I loved it. It was great. So yeah, that was enjoyable. That was enjoyable to watch.
I can't speak too much to that one. I can't speak too much to that one because we know my eating behaviours when inebriated. So as we've already covered in the podcast, so glad it's not just me.
Absolutely not. So, well, it looks like we all had a good time and there was alcohol involved this weekend, even if we don't consume it. So, podcast. I suppose we should talk about the show. Last time we were together, we were talking. There was that last scene was with Bernie, and he was at loggerheads. I think it's fair to say with John and Eddie about the technical side of the show, and there were some blockers there, and he wasn't having any of it. Is it trouble at mill? Do we think?
Trouble at mill. Well, yes, things are starting to reach boiling point. With Bernie, and when you get a character like Bernie, and I'm sure you see this time and time again. You see this, in the business world. You see this with business leaders. When you get no one reining them in, and they've just got control and power to do whatever they want and unlimited resources. Guess what they do? Anything they want, and there's no sense checking and no reining in there. And I think Bernie is definitely falling into those tropes of crazy person or just genius. I think time will tell on which one he is.
Yeah, can he pull this out of the bag? I mean, he has a history for putting on amazing shows. That's why Glenn's brought him in. Yeah,
alleged history.
Well, no, he does. He's been involved in these big shows, so he comes with a precedent of success. So that's what's to be expected. So you kind of say, is all of this his process? Is this how he makes a great show? Whether that can translate to working in the environment he's in now. He's not in the West End or Broadway now. He's literally at a holiday resort on the East Coast. So
it doesn't excuse behavior, and
absolutely not.
That is inexcusable in any walk of life, in any job we do. And I'm sure we've all had bad bosses before, or a leader that you just think you are absolutely bat crazy, my friend. But we follow you because that's what we're bred to do. We are, we have leaders we follow. We earn experience along the way, but no one's ever really brave enough to say something. I think that's where Alison, our character Ali, is going, where she is calling out the reality of what's really going on. But because she's been given a break, she should be really thankful about, you should show us appreciation because we've given you a chance and you haven't earned that in your own merit and in your own right, which was, around.
Because that's the question. She auditioned for the role. She didn't beg. She did it, and she got it on merit by performing and being deemed worthy. But I get what you mean in terms of she doesn't have a history of performing with that cast or with that within that circle of people. But does that mean she hasn't earned it? I think
no. I'm not. No, sorry. I'm not quite saying that she hasn't earned it. She's most definitely earned it. What I'm saying is, in the eye of others, in that surrounding, what you're saying is the impact Bernie has on the rest of the cast, especially those that are really loyal to him and those that have been in the circuit and know each other. There's that sense of we've been auditioning, we've been doing this a long time. Bernie is demonstrating this behavior, so it's okay for us to be like this.
100%.
It's almost
toxic environment.
Bullying. It
toxic
creates
environment.
Toxic, perfect. Yeah, and I'm sure we've all been in any walk of life. We've all been, we've all been involved in situations like that. And I know it's starting out on a kind of sour note, but it's true.
I think we just take
anyone. Yeah,
we're talking about those behaviours and what that's doing to our characters. I think it's really important that we kind of talk about that, because it's not just a case of us writing a script. We've got to think about these human beings in this situation and the impact that a toxic environment has on people who would normally not behave like that. And do they embrace that, or do they challenge that? And we're seeing different behaviours from different people with regards to that. So it's interesting.
And and the kiss asses that go along the way as well. And it's always the kiss asses that do well until the leader falls.
Well, let's see. We will have to see what goes on in the next few weeks. But I think, without further ado, it's probably time for us to get on with it. I can hear people screaming now. Get on with it. So let's dip in, jump back into our script, and see what's happening down at Camp Resorts. Interior, main pavilion, bar, night. The venue is barely lit except for the bar area, which is Colin and Gary refilling the fridges with bottles. They work in silence opposite ends of the bar as the main door opens and closes noisily, echoing through the empty space. Colin looks up to see a family of 6 walking into the venue. The mum and dad are striding purposefully along, whilst the 4 young kids scatter in all different directions.
Excuse me, we're closed.
The parents keep walking towards the front, looking in all different directions. Colin keeps shouting.
Here, hello, we're not open.
The dad notices Colin and makes his way over to the bar. Colin looks at him. All right, mate, I'll have a pint of that. A Malibu and Coke and 4 orange cordials, please. Tap water, though.
Sorry, mate, we're closed.
You're closed? Door's open, though.
Yeah, the door's open because we're in here working.
Well, you can't be unclosed. It's a nightmare getting a good table in here. I thought we'd come in a bit early to get a decent spot.
You're about an hour too early, I'm afraid.
Well, is the bar open then?
Nothing's open, mate. We're closed. I don't even have a float yet for the tills, so I can't take your cash.
Oh, right. Well, we'll just wait over there then.
Dave, what's taking so long?
He said they're closed.
What?
Closed.
Closed?
Yeah,
But the door was open.
that's what I said.
What?
Nothing. See what I have to put up with.
I don't know what to tell you, mate. Just resort policy. You can't stay here.
Well, why not?
Insurance and whatnot. We're just getting set up for night. Just give us an hour and you can come back in.
Gary makes his way over to Colin. Well, can we reserve a table? Leave our stuff on that one.
You can. I can't guarantee that it'll be there when you get back, though.
Well, can't you reserve it for me? Listen, mate, he's told you 3 times we're closed, right? He's told you we're open in an hour and we don't do reservations. What part of this are you not getting? Now, look, with respect, can you get your family and leave the venue, or we'll have to call security? The dad looks a little bit shocked and angered. There's no need to be like that. I'm a paying customer. I should be able to do what I like when I spent a bloody fortune to come here.
Just come back in an hour, mate. I'll try and get you a good spot, yeah?
Bloody ridiculous, this. I'll be complaining to customer services. The mum shouts over again.
Dave, what's going on?
We've got to go.
What?
We can't stay.
What?
Oh, for effing Pete's sake. The dad storms off back towards his family, shouting the entire way. Colin and Gary silently watch them argue, the odd word drifting over to them as they collect their things. They scream at the children and make their way out of the venue. Colin and Gary continue with their activities in silence.
Gary, mate.
Yeah?
I've been meaning to ask you something.
Gary does not react.
A few months ago, there's guys at the bar that knew you. What's the story there?
No story, Colin. Nothing to tell.
Were you like a devil worshiper or something?
Or something.
What's that supposed to mean?
Gary stops abruptly and turns to Colin, an intense look on his face. What is it that you want to know, Colin?
Nothing. Everything. Like, you've been my best mate for a year now, and it's dawned on me that I don't know anything about your life. Like, before here.
It was a dark time. It's best to be forgotten. Before Colin can say another word, they both hear the main door open and slam closed again. Colin and Gary stand to address another family, only to see a smiling Margaret speeding towards them. She stops at the bar. "What's your my lovelies?"
All right, Margaret. What do we owe the pleasure?
"Oh, nothing much. Just setting up my little stand here for the coat show tonight." Margaret drops a bag and a small stand from her lap and starts pulling out merchandise. "Let's see what we've got here. Mug, coasters, t-shirts, fridge magnets, posters, autograph books, pens, and loads of movie cow stuff. Where's best for me to set up then?"
You can settle right there next to the bar if you like, Margaret. Do you need a table?
"Oh, that'd be smashing, my lover."
All these camp coats getting their faces on posters and stuff. What about the bar staff? We're the true heroes round here. What do you think, Gary? Should we get some stuff made up? Posters, best barman, or, the East Coast and all that?
Not for me, Colin. Well, I think that's a fine idea, I do. Well, you won't sell as many as my Dan, though. The main door opens and closes once again. We hear the sound of high heels making their way through the auditorium.
Oops. Well, that's old sour face from Ents here. Better get back to work.
Right you are, my lover. I'll get you that table, Margaret. Judy gets to the front of the stage, lifts the radio to her mouth, and speaks.
Eddie, can you lift the curtains, please? Over.
No problem, Judy. Over.
Thank you. Can you also let the cast know to make their way onto the stage? Over.
Roger that. Over and out. A few seconds later, the curtain slowly rises. The lights flicker into life, and one by one, the cast emerge onto the stage. Judy's Campcoat cast. Adam, Dan, Haley, Paula, Donna, and Mushy, amongst various others.
I just wanted to say good luck and express how utterly proud I am of each and every one of you. All of you have earned your place on this stage and in this show. I know we haven't had a lot of time to rehearse this, and you may be feeling nervous, excited, or worried in equal measure. But I want you to go out tonight, give it your best, be professional, and show everyone here what we do, what we are truly capable of. The best group of campcoats, nay, performers we've ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, break a leg.
The cast all whoop and cheer, smiling and hugging each other. Judy smiles wryly at the cast, turns around, and a look of worry crosses her face.
Yeah, why is she worried?
Well, I guess any first night you're going to be a little bit nervous, aren't you, about how a load of new people. I mean, I know we've got some old faces in there, but there's some unknown quantities. I guess she's seen them in rehearsal, but I imagine that some of the rehearsal space has been taken up by by Bernie's guys, and she's probably a bit nervous about how things are going to be received after all the turmoil.
I think you might be right there. I really do.
Well, let's find out, shall we? Let's dip back in and see where we're going. Interior, main pavilion, bar, night. The venue is filling with guests. The vast proportion of tables and chairs have been taken. There is music playing in the background. Colin and Gary are busy tending the bar, with lots of guests lining up to be served. Margaret is proudly manning her stall, surrounded by lots of kids, all looking through the range of goods available. An argument breaks out near the front of the stage between two families, warring over the table and chairs. The early dad is in the thick of it, trying to reclaim the table he had unofficially reserved. The family now occupying the table are refusing to move, despite the fact that there is a coat over one of the chairs, the age-old sign of ownership. The lady sat in the chair grabs the coat and throws it at Dave, the dad, gesturing him to go away. This enrages Dave, the dad. Because we need to say that again. This enrages Dave.
He's the dad.
Yeah,
he's the dad. Dave's the dad. Dave's the dad.
This enrages Dave, who is then cut down when the man at the table stands up, taller and heavier, stepping towards him with a menacing look on his face. All the guests surrounding them look on curiously as Dave quickly backs down, and he and his family walk away, relegated to the back of the venue to a lone table next to the loos, with a limited view of the distant stage. A look of fury on their faces, the mums scouring at Dave in utter disgust.
Have you ever had a situation where that's happened? Have you ever seen something like that?
I think you'll find that was most nights we worked when we were coat type entertainers. There was always some sort of fury about who was in, and it's kind of like round the pool. You know, when you want to get your sun lounger in the morning when you're on a foreign holiday, it was very much the same for the venues. When you wanted to get a table, people would send their kids in with all the coats and a few drinks or something and put them on the table, try and reserve things so they could be right at the front.
You're right. It is a normal thing, and it's for when you go into those venues night after night, you would pretty much see the same families at the same table with a sense of ownership and like, no, this is my table. We own this table, and if you're there, we'll ask you to move.
But what was the other thing that, and I was going to ask you about this. Why was it that the people that insisted at sitting right at the front were always the people that would talk through shows and not clap? Yet they insisted every night sitting at the front. Yet the people at the back were really enthusiastic and getting excited.
Yeah, because the people at the front are usually regulars that know how it all works and have seen. They're jaded. They're show jaded. They know how all this stuff goes. They don't have to watch it. They can sit there and criticize and go, oh, look at that. It wasn't as good as last year, was it? Always, the cost was well better last year.
But that's why
it's terrible this year.
But that's why I never understood. Why not sit at the back then if you've seen it before? But hey.
They just didn't. And they were quite savvy as well. And if any of our listeners are also guilty of this, they would also have the kind of bags laid out, the kids' bags with the bottles of vodka and whiskey in them, where they just go up and buy the Coke and then come back and start topping up with a secret stash of booze. Yeah. I remember a few families doing that and going, "Do you want a drink? Do you want a sneaky drink?" And you go, "Oh no, it's all right. I'll just take a Coke." And they're like, "Go on, you can have a drink, have a sneaky drink."
And of course, you never ever partook in that alcohol while you were working, did you?
Of course, I was a consummate professional, right until the very end.
I don't believe you. We all had a cheeky drink. It was a different time. It was a different time.
Okay. It definitely was. I do remember one situation though where I was sitting with a family, because that was your job. You had to just join random tables and sit with random families. Yeah. And I was talking to what was clearly his daughter, and I don't know if you ever had this, Steve. And I can't remember who they were. I just remember looking across, and the guy never stopped staring at me the entire time. I wasn't talking to his daughter in any kind of way. I was just doing my job and talking and making conversation. He just glared at me the entire time. So I kept on doing it over and over again. Yeah, just keep going back and talking again. You're all right. I know, full on daggers.
But then you got some families who were trying to set you up with their kids. You know,
Not me.
Obviously the older children, they're sort of approaching adulthood in their, of legal age and what have you. But yeah, many times they'd be sort of trying to fix you up with their kids. I think they just thought, oh, they're good with children, maybe they'll be parent material. I don't know, but it was a strange situation. I can honestly say it was never comfortable, was it?
And there was some horror stories that used to fly around, actually, of some really, really on the nose wrong stuff and propositions that was made as well, which we won't repeat because it wouldn't be right. But no. Yeah, I mean,
maybe when we do a live episode in the future, we'll address some of that
when it can't be recorded on the record.
Absolutely. Interior, main pavilion, bar, night. The evening is in full swing. The audience clap joyously in anticipation as the campcoats walk onto the stage. The lights flare and music fills the venue as Hayley and Mushy step forward for the opening number. The rest of the coats stand in two groups, the males on the left, the females on the right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for your very own campcoat battle of the bands. The performers immediately burst into dance as the medley of girl and boy pop songs start playing. Hayley singing to Barbie Girl, with Mushy portraying Ken. Judy watches the stage intently, stood discreetly at the back of the venue, a clipboard in hand, as she scribbles various notes based on her observations. She turns only when she feels a presence and notices Bernie stood beside her. A selection of the cast stood off to his side, including the head girl, Robin, and Ali stood by watching the show. Robin and Ali step forward to get a closer view, smile, and start dancing and clapping along, cheering and openly showing support. They're eventually joined by a few cast members. The head girl and a few others remain po-faced with Bernie, making facial expressions and remarks to one another, pointing at people on the stage and laughing, openly mocking them. Bernie smirks approvingly at this. Judy notices and swoops on the head girl.
What was that, dear?
The head girl looks surprised.
Huh? Oh, I just thought you might want to pass on your feedback to me since you're clearly so invested in making my show better.
The head girl says nothing but looks at Bernie.
No? Nothing to say? Okay then.
Judy steps back over to her place and continues watching the show. Bernie steps closer to her. Oh, do ignore them, Judy. They're young, the folly of youth. They are so very critical, this young generation, and so easily entertained. Pointing to Robin and Ali.
What do you want, Bernie?
Me? I want for nothing.
Then why are you here?
Well, of course, to show support. We are a team, after all, Judy, despite our obvious differences in vision and talent.
Well, this isn't about you or I. This is for them.
Oh, of course. I mean, look at them. The poor things. They clearly need as much encouragement as they can muster. I mean, right, gang? Some of the cast members laugh mockingly. A bravo to you. So very courageous, putting on a show that is, barely passable.
At least I have a show to put on. One of several, in fact. Tell me, Bernie, how's yours coming along?
Bernie swallows heavily, trying not to react.
And you know what they say about being at the top. It's a long, long fall to the bottom.
I wouldn't know, dear. Winners only win. Losers are the ones to put on uninspired, amateurish holiday camp shows. At this, the pop medley on the stage finishes, and the audience goes wild, clapping, cheering, and having fun. Ali and Robin are on their feet, jumping up and down, encouraging their friends.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. DaCosta. They seem to like it, don't they? Maybe you should take a moment to remember where you are and who your audience is. These people, they don't need spectacle and pizzazz. They just want to be entertained by the very people who spend time with them every day.
Come on, gang, let's leave. I've seen enough. Bernie walks away, followed by most of his cast. The head girl calls out to the remaining members, including Robin and Ali.
Let's go.
One member hears and leaves. Robin and Ali stay in place. The head girl walks over to them.
Are you coming? No, thanks. We're going to stay. We're enjoying the show. Are you sure you want to do that, Alison? Quite sure. And it's Ali. Robin?
I'll see you at rehearsals tomorrow. The head girl turns and storms off. Judy, watching this, smiles broadly as the show resumes. Interior, main pavilion, bar, night. The audience are on their feet. The room is alive with smiling, clapping, cheering people. The joy on everyone's face is clear, and the camp coats on the stage take their final bows. The curtains slowly lower, and the clapping eventually subsides. Guests are taking their seats once again, talking about the show, or running to the bar for a drink. What a fantastic show that was! We at Camp Holidays hope you enjoyed our Battle of the Bands. If it's got you in the mood, we'll be playing all the hits from now until midnight. So grab yourself a drink, your boogie shoes, and join us on the dance floor. Just to also confirm there will be no drinks on the dance floor itself. I repeat, no drinks on the dance floor. Thank you. Pop music fills the air as a wave of kids and teenagers alike swarm the dance floor, encouraged by the Capcos, who are pulling reluctant parents out of the seats to join in.
That was brilliant. I'm so proud of them.
Oh, it was really good. This place was bouncing.
That's what people want. Just good fun entertainment. Not like the poncy stuff we're being made to do.
Can we just have one night where we don't bitch about Bernie's show?
We're going to be in it for tomorrow.
You're going to be what? You're going to be in for it tomorrow.
Is that what I said?
You're going to be for in it tomorrow.
You're going to be in it for tomorrow. Okay.
We're going to be in for it tomorrow. Like you're in trouble.
Thank you. I do like a bit of direction, Steve.
That's all right. I'd like to make sure you know where you go. Robin downs the rest of his drink. Why do you think I'm getting drunk?
I was a bit jealous, seeing them up there. It looked so much fun, didn't it?
Well, at least you'll be getting it on a stage. I'm beginning to think I made a big mistake.
Oh, Robin, can we just have one night where you don't moan about being the cast bitch?
Robin shoots a sharp glance at Ali, then bursts out laughing, and Ali joins him. What are we like, darling? I think we're bad for each other, to be honest.
Darling, you're starting to sound like Bernie. But, saying that, we totally deserve each other.
Haley comes running over to them.
Haley, that was brilliant. Well done. Amazing. Did you like it? We were all so nervous. God, I made so many mistakes.
Oh, well, it didn't show. You all looked so tight up there.
Oh, Robin, thanks. That means a lot coming from you. We literally had like a week to rehearse that. You should have seen it, Haley. The audience were literally dancing on the tables and chairs. They were loving it. Well, it means a lot you came. We're all having some drinks backstage. Judy said it was okay. Are you coming? We'd love to. You sure no one minds? No. Look, besides, you can tell everyone what you told me. They'd love to see how brilliant they were. Yeah, okay.
Haley and Ali start walking arm in arm. Robin doesn't move.
You coming, Robin?
Nah, you guys go on. Ali and Haley walk up to Robin.
What's going on? Why don't you come backstage?
Well, you know why. Look, I don't want to make it awkward.
You won't. Come on. Come for a drink. Make amends.
Robin goes quiet for a moment. Thinking, he fakes a smile. That's okay. You go ahead. I'm pretty tired anyway.
Are you sure?
Yeah, honestly.
Okay then.
Ali begins to walk back towards Haley. Ali, make sure you tell them how good I thought they were. Tell Dan his dancing is loads better.
I will.
Ali leaves with Haley. Robin turns. Sadness falls over his face as he walks out of the venue and into the dark night, alone.
Show me what sadness falling on your face looks like. And I'll describe
your face
it.
drops.
I'll describe it to the audience. Okay, that looks like... What are you doing? What are you doing there? That looks like you're passing wind.
Well, it was a double-edged sword. Yeah.
Show me sad face. I want to see sad face. That was sad. Ooh.
That was a pantomime sadness because I'm doing it over camera in a tiny little box in the corner of your screen. So
there's a sudden look with the mouth turned downwards and his head drops. He looks like a little boy. He's just got into loads of trouble and he doesn't know what to do. That's sad face. Show me happy face.
Listen, I'm not your performing bitch. We're not doing happy, sad faces all evening. We're talking about the show. Interesting then. So the cast, Bernie's brought his cast along to have a look at what's going on and perhaps not what he thought would happen there. What do you think his intention there was to turn up with his cast?
Well, I think it was to goad Judy. Clearly, it was to put down some, domination. They clearly sees it as competition, and Judy quite rightly put Bernie in his place. So and that I don't think, like, for Bernie's connecting that puts a lot of pressure on Bernie to wow the crowd, and he's clearly not listening to what they've said, and that is they don't care about this big West End. They want to be just entertained, and that is very, very true for a lot of places like this. They don't want anything too out there that people can't connect with. Sometimes the old style simple shows of just seeing the people you've been spending time with that day up on that stage having fun is probably even more enjoyable than seeing a bunch of people you don't know in a show that you can't connect to, because there has to be a connection between the cast and the audience.
Yeah, especially in these scenarios, because a lot of these people are repeat customers, so they've been years before, and they feel a sense of ownership over those shows, because it's like they're watching family, because these people, like you were just saying, you sat with them when you weren't performing. You'd sit and watch other shows with them. You'd have a drink with them. You chat with them. You tell them a bit about your life. You learn about them. Then they see you up on stage, and they felt that sense of pride in you almost, because you were someone they connected with. So it really made a difference. And I think it really helped as well to get an audience on side. If you made a few mistakes, it didn't matter, because they loved you.
It made the audiences a lot more forgiving. Whereas,
Yeah.
I mean, when we had a lot of professional shows on, and they generally were quite critical, not in a bad way, but they'd see the criticisms because they don't connect with the people themselves, because they just don't know who they are. They're just a bunch of random people that's turned up. And
the difference there was when you get an old style entertainer, and I'll name drop, because I probably mentioned it before, but in a previous episode. But one particular performer that came and did a gig was the old Scouse entertainer called Tom O'Connor, sadly not with us anymore. But he told every single joke he told I'd heard before, every single one. But the house was rocking. He had people eating out of the palm of his hand because they connected with him. They knew him from the TV. He was warm. He was friendly. He chatted. He told jokes that were fun. They were family friendly. And there was sometimes a little bit of naughty in there, but nothing too bad. But he knew his audience. He knew what they wanted. And I think that's the problem we got with Bernie, is he doesn't really know his audience. And he's trying to give a West End audience show to a holiday camp audience, and they're not necessarily interchangeable.
No. Can I just ask, what were they eating?
In what, sorry?
Out of his hand. You said they were eating out of the palm of his hand. What was it? Was it like Skittles or jelly beans or
it was
popcorn?
It was a bag of pedantic shit, I think somebody said. It was a turn of phrase. So yeah, you know exactly what I mean. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? When you understand how your audience thinks and you know exactly how to react to them, how to engage with them, you don't have to have fresh, new, exciting, razzmatazz ideas. You can just entertain people with your very presence and just knowing how to connect. And I think that's massive for a massive learning I took from that I take on still to this day. You don't have to be super original, as long as you have the charm, the charisma, and the wherewithal to understand your audience.
Oh, thanks, Steve. That's such a lovely compliment. I'll take that.
Well, you should take them when you can get them.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't think Bernie has done himself any favor by turning up there. And as we know, Judy, she gets it, she understands it, and she's got several shows going already, and she's just proven that she could pull a show together with any week's notice. And that might sound kind of implausible to people, but that was the truth. We would literally start rehearsing, within a week of going live, and your dress rehearsal, your first kind of premiere is figuring it all out in a with a live audience.
Absolutely. I mean, do you remember when we went and did the audition show? And I know we talked about this in one of our very first episodes. We talked about my mistake of going on stage too early. But why did I make that mistake? Because we didn't start rehearsing that performance. We didn't learn that routine until the day before we were doing it live on stage at the Hippodrome in London.
Yeah,
so, a few
right.
hours rehearsals, wasn't it?
And you know, when you're in a different room and you're in a different place and you're rehearsing, and then you don't get to see the venue until the morning you get there, and then you do a quick block, but there's no time to do a dress rehearsal or to practice it. It's just a case of just get on with it. I remember a situation. I don't know if you did definitely see that show. Do you remember we did like kind of Rio de Janeiro carnival style show? And
Yeah.
I am not kidding, we were carrying a cast of 10 of us in a very small space. We were holding kind of like 6 to 7 inch metal poles with kind of flags on them, all different colors, all silk. And I mean, these were absolutely humongous. And the range on these was about 4 or 5 meters. And I remember one of my fellow dancers who was near me, you weren't concentrating. You didn't have enough kind of steer. So you're trying to remember the routine. You're trying not to hurt anybody. And I smacked her right around the top of the head. As my flag just boinged on her, and I could feel the ricochet, and I could hear her. She was so professional, right to last. And all I heard was, ow. I'm so sorry, but you know, we're twisting these massive flags around our head and we're doing all these things with it and stuff like that, and someone could have got hurt, and you know, you had to be so
Sound like somebody did.
No, she did, and luckily she was wearing a wig. We all wore wigs, and that, I think that softened the blow. It was a bit cushiony, you know. But it just goes to show how much it's not just about the performance. It's not just being conscious of your mark and where you're supposed to be. It's also being conscious of where everyone else is and the dangers surrounding it. I don't think those health and safety assessments done. I think it looks good, so let's go for it and hope for the best. And you kind of figure out your spacing while you're there. And then, and this is where that head girl or head boy is so important, because they're the ones directing while they're on the stage. They're the ones they're giving little looks and little nods, and their eyes are going in different directions. And you have to read that body language to go, oh, they're looking at me and I need to move across a little bit more. They're always watching the positioning and stuff. And that's why they're always prime centers. Yeah, no, so respect to these guys. And if anyone's listening that's done that job, you'll know how hard it is, because not only are you in the show, you're also directing it whilst you're there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, have we seen a little bit of softening towards his old friends now? It seemed like in that last scene there was definitely a slight crack. I mean, he didn't go backstage and talk to them, but it does feel like he may be softening to the idea of Adam and Dan and everyone again.
I think he might be regretting his life choices a little bit there. They're on stage. They're doing what he wants to do. He obviously really enjoyed the show and was really supportive. He wasn't there with them. And I think he probably feels a little bit bad about that, actually. Because if it was me, I would. If I was watching you up there and you and I had fallen out and you did this amazing show and I wasn't part of that experience to enjoy it with you, I think I would feel really, really bad too. And I wouldn't go backstage either. I would leave. I would do exactly what Robin did.
And is that out of embarrassment? Is it out of not wanting to, make it awkward? What's the thought process behind that?
Well, I'm not going to talk for Robin because it would be insincere.
I'm talking about yourself. You know, you said you would do the same. Yeah,
I would do the same. Probably out of that, I want you to enjoy your moment. I want you to enjoy that without me turning up and suddenly changing the atmosphere. And then it feeling awkward, because it's not the time to apologize, because you make it about you and not about the celebration of the show. So I would walk away too. So it wasn't really about me. Now, if it was my show and I was up there and you came to see it, and you know, let's say Robin was on the stage and it was the lads and they went back, that's different altogether, because that's about them reaching out to make amends and stuff. And that would, but I think with Robin being, I suppose, the kind of person that moved all this along and fell out and started you know, and okay, Adam was no angel. But I do think that, I would do the same out of that point of it's not the right time and you should enjoy your moment.
Yeah. But it does show that he still cares, I guess, because he does that statement at the end. I mean, he doesn't say anything specifically to Adam, but it feels like he's moving into the realms of wanting to reconnect.
I think Ali's chipping away. And I think without Ali as his anchor point, and Ali kind of talking about
voice
the
of reason,
and everything that's going on, I think he's starting to get that. Whereas if we remember where Robin started from, Robin was really into Bernie and really wanted Bernie to see him for what he was, and he allowed Bernie to embarrass him for being in this, you know, improvised boy band and to mess around by not, he's put Robin in that position and then just dumped him and said, you're now, you know, you're essentially not even in the show. You're just there as backup. And I think Robin's probably feeling that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, look, Mike, we've had an amazing amount of conversation today. It's been really interesting to hear your thoughts on these things. I hope everyone out there has enjoyed the scenes that we brought you today. And as always, we have to refer to you, Mike, for our final thought of the day or statement of the day. So please just fill us in with your pearls of wisdom for this week.
Let's address toxic environments. And if you find yourself in a toxic environment with a boss like Bernie, speak to someone, talk to someone, because I guarantee if you feel like that, other people feel like that too. Be the alley to the Robin.
That's wise words and quite sensible ones for us, which, doesn't happen very often, but hey, don't ever let it be said we don't occasionally impart some wisdom on you. Thank you once again for joining us. Make sure you stay tuned. We've got plenty more episodes coming this season. We will see you next time here on Bad Scripts Present Last Resort. Bad Scripts was written and performed by Mike Garlia and Steve Jones, a Beach Tide production.